like maybe
Yeah.
one or two other ones.
That's not a
And
really good representation of their work, though.
it is not, but that's what I'm
No.
saying. Like bands like
Yeah.
that, like their popular songs are A, not their best songs, and
Yeah.
B, like not a good representation of the type of music they do. Like,
No. They're like somewhere between like emo, punk rock, and jam rock.
and then
Like somewhere
who's
in
oh
there.
man, who's the opener? So it's gonna be oh man, Thundercat? Is that her name?
Okay, I hate to break this up, but we are
Oh, let's
live,
do this.
guys.
Yeah.
So, welcome to Crook and Murder. My name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. We're going to try to bring you this episode in a timely manner. I am joined today, and I am your host. I'm joined today by Maxwell Murder.
Yes, I'm Maxwell Murder, and look, he's got a guitar now. Ooh.
Got a guitar and a Molotov cocktail.
I mean, the two things you need when you're in a punk band.
And finally, because he literally has nowhere else to go, special guest Alex is joining us today as well.
Special guest Alex, and just because I don't have anywhere to go doesn't mean that I don't have time to invent the foot restraints on the toilets on the ISS.
This is a true story. He has a patent.
This is what he gets paid to do because we don't pay him shit. We just locked him in there and nailed the door shut.
Yeah, like some fucking Edgar Allan Poe shit.
so,
Is there a part of your floor that's like beating and like telling you to do shit? No.
I mean, my floor
Maybe.
tells me to do shit all the time.
But if it is, it's all the small beating hearts that I've ripped out of rats to sustain myself.
But
Well,
your
okay.
foot
Well,
restraints from the ISS doesn't pay for the bills?
no, he doesn't
Well,
get a
how
lot
am
of
I
money for
supposed
that.
to get food delivered if I can't open the door?
Exactly.
I gotta eat small critters that happen to come inside the room.
How long has he been locked in that room? Lord, that's a good question. He's been locked in there since the Krampus episode in 2022. When we were
Nobody
like, you're
knows.
part of the podcast now, deal with it.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows the real answer to that.
You know,
Was I already in the room when I joined the podcast? No one knows.
Schrodinger's Alex.
Schrodinger's Alex. Oh my God.
You know, if
Let's
we
just
ever
say
go
that.
on tour, Alex, you're just basically going to be in a closet
Oh yeah.
during the show.
I would be okay with that if they built like a fake little like four wall thing that I just sat in and no one saw me. I'd be totally down for that.
With the
I should
door with
probably,
nails.
Yeah.
you know what we should do if we ever go live is I will be in like a little room like that's built. Like I'll be on stage with you, just have like four little walls, and then there will just be a monitor in front of there, and I'll webcam through that.
I mean, you got to come on tour with us because there's groupies and stuff, but we can't have you live on stage. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
we'll just throw them over the walls.
Yeah.
All right. So on the previous episode, as Max explained just a few minutes ago, we explained how various religions practice the art of exorcism. But this week, we're going to bring you the scientific and spiritualist view on exorcism, as well as some famous examples. And finally, our personal theories on what may be occurring during exorcism/possessions.
You know, Lord has a good idea. We could put a screen on the drone and just have you fly it throughout the audience.
I really like that. And then I could just
I
like
like that.
hover in front of someone's face and be like, you have a question.
What is that? That reminds me of like a cartoon or something, or maybe I don't know, maybe Futurama.
All right, Wizard of Oz, kick it off.
All right. We're going to kick it off with the spiritualist view on exorcisms. The belief that invading spirits are inherently evil remains largely a Judeo-Christian concept, because probably for control reasons. The majority of the world actually views possession as both uncommon and not especially dangerous. And these type of views, the spirits themselves could be beneficial or malevolent. But one thing rings true is they generally don't stay that long. It's kind of like a long weekend vacation.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, right. The spiritist
Yeah.
movement, which flourished in the 1800s and remains popular today, actually embraces the possession of a spirit through the means of channeling. In this method, a medium invokes an apparition to speak through them and relay messages. So think like kooky woman with crystal ball making everybody hold hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a
Hang on.
ghost ratatouille, many famous books and symphonies were allegedly created with the assistance of a mouse. I mean, spirits.
You know, my favorite part about the spiritualist view on possession is it makes the Catholics look like a bitch. Because they're just like, yeah, getting possessed is like going to the fucking store, you know? You hang out with the ghost for a bit and then he just leaves. And the Catholics are over here like, hold on, we gotta throw one gigantic goddamn ritual because Satan's in this boy.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that like I think the purest of the spiritualists like have that view of kind of like I'll invite whatever inside of me. Well, that sounded weird. Um, but the a lot of like psychics and mediums have definitely taken on the like Judeo-Christian sort of like the Catholic view of possession as like a demon thing. I think probably to make more money.
I mean, yes, Evan, like, okay, there's a part of this that I didn't really go into, but the biggest problem that science runs into when facing religion down on possession is two factors. One is the fact that a lot of it can be diagnosed with medical, as we're going to talk about
Yes.
here in a sec. And the other one is money. There are so many
Yeah.
fucking evangelical goddamn priests out there that are like, I will exorcise you for 500
Oh yeah.
fucking dollars. You know?
Don't
So,
don't ever search for exorcisms on YouTube thinking you're gonna find something real or Catholic because you're gonna find something that's like an evangelical because the Catholics don't like to broadcast that shit because they actually got kind of smart at some point. But like, yeah, like if you search for like exorcism on YouTube, you will be maybe entertained, but like disappointed in the
Come on.
veracity of these people.
Come on, we'll give you back your legs. Let me cure your cancer.
essentially,
Yeah,
yeah.
or it's like a teenage girl strapped to a bed, but and not I'm not this is not a documentary I'm talking about. Um
She's over the age of
uh
18, though, right? I mean,
well, I mean
In
it
each
depends, but
scenario,
like
let's say
usually
yes.
yeah, so like it's someone strapped to a bed and then like a priest who's wearing a purple shirt and a white collar screaming shit at her. And
Mhm.
it's not a Catholic rite of exorcism, it's not any rite of exorcism. It's just some guy who's got a YouTube church in South
He's
Carolina.
doing more than that, unbeknownst to everybody else.
Oh,
actually,
of course he
Lord
is.
of Old Door Frames saying, I'll exorcise you if you let me kill you, uh, rings frighteningly true. And we're
I know
actually
it's a
going to
little
talk
scary
about
how true that is.
we're going to talk about that a little bit at the end of the episode.
All right.
Yeah,
So before we get into that, though, let's go to science.
science. What has science ever taught us?
So all of this rubbish and hogwash, possessions, spiritual spirits, which is something I'm sure a 1900s British professor probably once said, or does say if you don't believe in the lineal time. But exorcisms and spiritual possession are generally disregarded within the scientific community, as most cases, as Ken said, break down to psychological disorders. A lot of
Schizophrenia.
symptoms displayed by the possessed can be equated to legitimate medical afflictions such as hysteria, mania, psychosis, Tourette's, epilepsy, schizophrenia, and or dissociative identity disorder, and probably a whole slew of other things in the DSM.
Can I ask you something about hysteria? Is that still defined in the DSM as a woman on her period?
Yeah,
I
probably.
highly doubt that.
For how I don't know, man. How fucked up the DSM was up all the way up until like the fucking mid '90s, probably.
That's not.
I'm pretty sure that the third edition still had like female hysteria in it, and
Guys,
we're on number 4 now.
These are doctors, learned doctors who spent years in medical school. A woman on her period is mad cow disease to them now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dude. All right. So additionally, there exists a
Wow.
form of monomania called demonomania, in which the patient believes, in which the patient believes they are possessed by one or more spirits. Calling in an exorcist to fix this can be considered a placebo effect with the power of suggestion. So it's like taking a sugar pill. A lot of these cases suggest a form of narcissism or low self-esteem. In other words, the patient acts demonically possessed in order to gain attention, which, again, a nice example of this will be brought up at the end of this episode.
It's not unheard of. That's the thing, is like people. Well, you just have to look at fucking TikTok to realize people will do dumb shit to gain attention. So, being demonically possessed.
Demonic possession on TikTok either.
Do you think exorcisms actually cure diseases and mental illnesses to a certain degree? Lord of Oldor Frames, yes and no. So, here's the thing. If someone is, like, having the flu and is like, hey, I'm demonically possessed, and he goes to the fucking exorcist does his thing, he might, through the power of suggestion, will himself to be better.
And
now,
the body can do amazing things.
There are certain...
mind.
Yeah. There are certain... Okay, in just the ones we mentioned, psychosis, mania, and hysteria are temporary afflictions. Tourette's, epilepsy, schizophrenia, and a dissociative identity disorder are usually a chemical imbalance in the brain. So I'd say, like, yes, for like hysteria or monomania or demonomania, yeah, absolutely. If the exorcist is like has enough authority and doesn't kill the patient, then probably it will fix the affliction. I do not think that exorcism is a valid treatment for epilepsy.
Here's the thing. The brain can royally fuck you. So, like,
Mine does all the time.
People with anxiety or like hypochondria may sit there and make themselves feel ill and or blame it on demonic possession. And if they're so devout to their religion, an exorcism could theoretically cure them. The problem is there's lines that are drawn there that people overstep, as we're going to find out way later on in the episode, and lead to tragic results.
All right, so now a report published in 2017 by the Telegraph noted an uptick in exorcisms, and of course it came from the Telegraph, but noted an uptick in exorcism requests from charismatic churches within the UK. Many of the patients possessed... Yeah, dude. Many of the patients possessed documented mental health issues, and they stopped taking their medications in response to the rituals. The report described the practice as a well-meaning initiative with the potential to do serious harm.
I don't even think it's well-meaning.
Now, probably completely unrelated, but the Exorcist TV show ran from September of 2016 to December of 2017. Again, maybe unrelated. The release of The Exorcist in 1973 saw a massive uptick in exorcism requests. So, obviously, with these unrelated details, it's worth noting that films and TV shows based on true events, quote unquote, are often overly sensationalized, fictionalized, and or created with a skewed bias to create a better story, which then in turn creates a sort of, maybe not incentive, but template for someone to maybe act out as if they are possessed. Actual exorcisms are generally, for the most part, benign.
Now, while researching this, I read a story of an actual exorcism. Like, the guy was, quote unquote, possessed by demons, so he sought a Catholic priest. They met in the basement of the church, and the priest essentially went down and was like, you know, bless you, said some things in Latin.
I
Was
totally thought you were gonna say went down on him, but sorry,
I
continue.
wasn't gonna say
It's-
it,
I
but you just
really
said it, Alex.
like the
It's
way
the-
that you set that up.
Alex.
Into the basement.
Alex, that's the other
I'm
way
gonna
around.
I'm gonna suck that demon out of you.
So he essentially was just like, Jesus removed these spirits, blessed him, did the cross, and was like, okay, you're done. And the guy was like, that's it? We are fucking conditioned by Hollywood to think these things are bigger than they actually are.
Of course. I think that I really like. I hate saying that the Catholic Church has ever done anything right, but like they don't lean into the exorcism shit because it's crazy. And they also like at one point, I think we'll probably talk about the story later. At one point they realized like, oh shit, we're like killing people. This is like bad PR. So like they employ psychologists and psychiatrists to like actually like evaluate a patient before they actually do an exorcism. And when they do an exorcism, they start with the minor rite, which like a layman can do. And usually it's just a lot of sessions of just like talking to a priest and him like saying like, Jesus did this and tell me how you're feeling. Like that's
Jesus
the
did
Catholic
this. Tell me how
exorcism
you're
nowadays.
feeling.
Yeah.
It's basically
Like,
therapy.
it is. It honestly now that's what it has become. And like if you watch anything on it, that would be the most boring fucking like movie ever.
But it's
If
also the
like
most helpful, right? So it's like
it is.
thank God they
No.
made the transition, right? Like
Well, like they did it right. Like, and again, I hate fucking saying it, but like, yeah, the Catholic Church kind of like realized like, oh, we got a problem on our, especially when The Exorcist came out. Like, they did not like that. Like, they were like, we cannot perform thousands of exorcisms. We've only got like 5 of these guys.
all
And
right, so
So yeah,
as you can see, it's important to notice that these cases rose with the introduction of The Exorcist in one form or another, whether it be the
Oh,
TV
yeah.
show or the movie. And I'm sure the fucking the new one that just came out, Late Night with the Devil. People look at this shit and go, maybe I'm exorcised because I have to sit down to pee. And then they call the fucking Catholic Church and are like, hey, I need an exorcism. And the Catholic Church is like, the fuck you don't. Just stand up, asshole.
I don't want to get too off track though, but have either of you seen that Late Night with the Devil? Is it any good?
yeah, it was really good actually.
It's
Is
good.
it? Okay, I
It's
want to
got
see
the
it.
longest introduction, though. Like,
It really does. Oh my god.
it's like logo, then logo, then logo,
I know.
then logo.
Oh my
And I'm
god.
like,
And then like 15 minutes of fucking text.
I just thought it was a cool like idea, like setup, like
No, it's
structure for a movie.
It's a great idea. It's the people who did paranormal what's that? Paranormal Activity. And it's
Oh,
like
okay.
in the same vein of like almost found footage, but like so much better than found footage because it's got the TV show. I thought it was very good and I thought I don't know. I was like I don't think anybody's going to watch that and be like I'm possessed by a demon, but who knows? It could happen.
All right, so since we're talking about movies and examples, let's you guys want to talk about Martha Brossier?
I'll do the
Brosier?
green.
Yeah,
Brossier,
no, that's
yeah.
why I put it in there. All right,
yeah.
so Martha, what'd you say, Max? You think it's what?
Brossier?
Brossier, yeah, that's what I think too. So,
Yeah.
because she's French, right?
Yeah, she's French. It's not
Yeah,
gonna be
she's from
Brossier.
France.
So Martha Brossier was a 22-year-old from 1500s France who claimed demonic possession. Martha's maladies included extreme shortness of breath, the ability to stick her tongue out super far, which that's not a bad one.
I can do that. I can do that.
Gnashing of teeth, writhing and convulsions, contortions of the face, rolling of the eyes, which again, depending on the context, probably.
I do that. I do that without thinking about it. My girlfriend and actually my mom and my aunt and actually probably every like woman in my life has said like, did you just roll your eyes at me?
Dude, then I fucking hate you. It is one of my biggest pet peeves in the
I
entire
do it
world is
and I
when
don't
someone
even know
rolls
I'm
their
doing
eyes.
it.
So, and then her most important malady was and postings on Twitter. describing how she's, quote, so over the college cafeteria food, unquote.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
what?
Hashtag Salisbury steak again. Hashtag bad bitch. Hashtag ugh 7 wars.
Martha. Martha, oh man, I can't even keep it. It's one of the best jokes you've ever done in one of these things. It
I
fucking
know.
got me so
It's
good.
really good.
So Martha would also speak with a violent and roaring voice, endure pinpricks to her hands and neck, and speak fluent English or Greek with her mouth shut. Bitch should have gotten a puppet.
Seriously. Wow, that is impressive.
She was like on the verge of becoming a ventriloquist. So
Yeah.
she could have made this a career.
Yeah.
She could have been Jeff Dunham, man, in the 1500s France. She could have
Extraordinary.
been Jeff Dunham, but bum. All right. So
Oh,
the
that man is
community.
possessed by demons, I swear.
So her community was perplexed and frightened by this startling behavior, which I think anybody would be, because it's basically just a crazy person. And when
Yeah.
she started talking about something, she something, she'd call out herself a stick with the
What?
she'd oh man,
Are you possessed, Alex?
dude, I don't know. Well, so when she started talking about something, she'd carry a selfie stick. The town called for an. Dude, wait, the sentence is messed up. That's why I'm having trouble.
Right, that
What?
does make sense. Yeah.
When she started talking about something called a selfie stick, the town called for an exorcism.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe I am
Oh,
about
okay.
to be possessed. They don't
Oh,
want
man.
Martha's story getting out to the masses. That's what they're
Nope.
trying to prevent right now.
This is
That's what the devil's doing.
Derek the demon
Um,
is stopping you from
but
revealing the
Mhm.
truth.
yeah, here's the thing though. Martha had a secret.
Dun dun dun.
What? No.
All
Is she
right.
pregnant?
She
Hashtag plot twist.
so enter 1500s mythbuster Charles Marone.
Maybe.
I'm assuming that's how you say his name. But
That's
Charles
cool.
immediately assumed the whole thing was bullshit, so he started testing her, which this is fucking fantastic. So good.
It's gonna get bad, I assume.
So first he gave her holy water, promised it was just normal ass water, and she gulped it down greedily. Slurped it.
Must have been thirsty.
Next, he had exorcists wrap a normal ass key in red silk. He then presented it to her as a relic of the true cross and started reciting
What?
lines from Virgil. Martha, believing this whole ordeal, aka thinking it was a real relic, started convulsing wildly as if possessed.
And you know, it's lines from fucking Virgil. It's not Latin like prayer.
No, it's just, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. I like this guy.
It is. I like this guy too. It's really good. The holy water just being like,
Mhm.
I remember when I was younger, I went to France with my sister and my grandmother, and we went to go visit a church. And I didn't want to go inside of the church, because at that time I was like super, super against religion. So I was like sitting smoking cigarettes out on the bench, and my grandmother came out with a bottle of holy water and started praying in French and fucking throwing holy water on me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
Wow. Whew.
And to
That's
this day,
Catholic.
she believes that's how I started like maturing and taking other things seriously. So she takes credit for like saving my ass.
Good news,
No.
it worked, Alex. That's what Jake
Yeah.
Gaza says. I decline. I do not believe that.
Well, yeah, especially since I was still a mess for like fucking 6 years after that. But
You were
anyway,
just
that's
nicer
right.
to your grandmother after that.
Good
She's
enough.
like,
Not
she's gonna
really,
throw
but-
water
But
at
you'd
me.
get doused with holy water if you weren't.
so I'm surprised it wasn't gasoline and she just lit me up. But all right, Charles. So after Charles Marone did a couple of these things, he was done with the whole charade. So he dragged her before the Cardinal Bishop of Paris, who had her examined
dear.
by 5 members of his faculty.
Oh dear.
3 of them believed she was an imposter. The other 2 subscribed to her OnlyFans. Next, the Parliament of Paris had 11 physicians examine her, and every single one of them reported there was nothing demonic in nature. Discredited and disgraced, Martha was sent home. And of course, the next day, Twitter verified her account. Hashtag go Elon Musk.
I I have a question about I mean I guess her Twitter was verified obviously, but do we actually know what happened to her? Was she like executed by the church or like
She's such a footnote in history. Like
oh, okay.
it's weird that her acting out managed to even put her on the map in history.
Yeah.
But she's there if
It's
you look for it.
interesting. It's interesting. Even in the 1500s, the Catholic Church was like, you know what? We don't want to like, we can't get involved in this sort of thing. Let's test her.
Yeah, I love the
You know?
1500s Mythbuster, where he's just like, all right,
Yeah.
no.
No.
We're gonna-
He's a badass, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Just like, and
she
I'm
has a
sure,
long
I'm sure
tongue.
those are the two like documented things, but I'm sure he did like other sneaky shit to be like, nah,
Oh, yeah.
this girl is lying.
I mean, he actually, to be fair, he was a lot nicer than a lot of fucking inquisitors because he could have just thrown her in the river and been like, if she
Well, that's what
fucking
I'm
sinks,
saying.
she's a witch.
Yeah, I mean, like he could have like, I don't know, put her on like a what's that donkey thing
Prozac?
called with the
Oh, yeah.
oh, you know, with the triangle that goes up your ass. It's like a torture device that they use during.
Oh, they put it up and then they like flick a switch and it goes. Poof.
That's a torture
like-
device?
Oh no, that's the pair of anguish.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were talking about.
Lord of all
Well,
door frames.
Similar concepts.
Her name was Martha Brossier. Just to reiterate, it was asked in chat.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one we're going to talk about, who's a little bit more contemporary, and by a little more, I mean a lot more. And
There's a lot more. Yeah.
it is the Exorcism of Ronald Edwin Hunkler, which
Hunkler.
change your name, bro.
That's an unfortunate name.
So everybody who has ever been involved in or interested in the supernatural knows the Exorcism of Ronald Edwin Hunkler, except for me. Learned it today. The name doesn't ring a bell. Perhaps you'll know it by its more popular adaptation, the movie The Exorcist. Well, I guess a book
Yes.
too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So The Exorcist revolves around the story of a demonic, venom-spewing teenage girl who then gets possessed by demons.
Yeah, I mean, after the demons roll in, she gets a lot more vulgar.
You had to get that practice in, right?
Oh, yeah.
However, the real story actually centered around a boy whom until 2021 was referred to as Ronald Doe or Robbie Mannheim by the church. Though in 2021, a year after Ronald's death, the skeptical inquirer uncovered and published his real name, which, as we stated, is Ronald Edwin Hunkler.
God, you know, I really don't like the Skeptical Inquirer. I don't like those magazines because, like, why you got to do that?
Because, like,
his name. At least they waited until he died.
to an extent,
I mean, still,
they're shining.
people knew his name actually before he died. I'm just gonna say it. Like, they actually people published his name and it was known in like skeptical circles, which I think is really shitty. I just don't like skeptical that kind of like idea of like that skeptical kind of like quote unquote like moniker or title of skeptic, because like they tend to like ruin a lot of fun, and they also tend to just like they're just as bad as anybody else who's faking an exorcism because they make their evidence fit their story.
Except it's not. Like, if and this is counterpoint, them pursuing the truth of the story brings it to the light. So people like if people learn about
pursue
it,
the truth of the story without mentioning his name. That's my thing.
But why? Because first of all, this family profited off the movie and the book. This family, the boy that does it, as we're soon going to find out.
Did they definitely profit? Because usually shit like that, the family gets absolute nothing.
Yeah, they
In this
profited.
case, they did.
Yeah.
Especially if they like changed names and shit like that.
The minute
rare. They didn't.
Max, the minute you're making money off of something, you put yourself in the public, and you have a right to be thrown into the light like that. Especially if you're exploiting something like The Exorcist that has and led to disastrous results.
I like kind of agree on that, but I also in this case I don't necessarily totally agree because they did try to obfuscate like this guy. They did like there was an attempt to obfuscate his identity. They made him a girl in the movie. Like there was an attempt and an ask by the family and the man to not be involved.
Yeah, just give me the money for it. See, that's my problem.
Again, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, honestly.
The minute you're trying to trick somebody, you become a charlatan. And the minute you become a
I
charlatan,
don't know if they're tricking. I don't know if they're tricking. I don't.
how much of the story have you actually read?
Well, none at all.
So
I know the story pretty well, but like I don't know. I have a okay. In this case, maybe he didn't have a right to like absolute privacy, and it was nice of the skeptical inquirer to wait till he was dead. But I do have a problem with most of the shit that is printed in the skeptical inquirer.
let me
It is really, really, really not fun magazine.
let me possess it against someone that actually deserves anonymity. Skinwalker Ranch, the guy that called in the people to help him, wanted nothing from it, profited nothing from it. That guy's name
No, I agree
should
with
have,
that.
and he wanted to remain anonymous. He should have remained anonymous. Uh, but Ronald and his family did profit. And that means they
Okay,
essentially became charlatans, leading to the idea that exorcisms are a thing. And
necessary.
and actually, that movie affected a hell of a lot of people's mental health. So if you look at
Okay.
it in that light, uh, they deserve to be dragged into it. And that's my point
I
counterpoint for it.
I don't know. I guess like I said, I agree and I disagree. In
Oh,
general, I
dude,
think
I don't know if
the
they actually profited from the movies or books or anything like that.
But okay,
I don't so just to my point, I really dislike I just really dislike that the whole idea of of publications like the Skeptical Inquirer. Like it is really like it's the whole point is almost to be like you're the whole point is to say someone's point of view is wrong and you're right. That's my issue. I don't
well,
really care about in this case, fine, whatever. They released his name, but the again, the publication itself and the idea of skeptical as a title, as it's sort of like this sort of I don't know.
listen,
It is in my opinion it is argumentative for an us it's unnecessarily argumentative and it is a way to put people down.
and yet podcasts do it all the time. The last podcast constantly defangs the beast, which is exactly what the
Defanging the beast is fine, but they also look at it with an open mind. They don't
yeah,
ever like. They
but
also have the same view I do on the
they
skeptic
present the
society.
facts of being like, hey, this isn't a thing. And like I've said since the beginning, if we could take something off the board, because the fucking supernatural in Alien World is so fucking muddled by shit like this, that if we could take something off the board, maybe we can actually focus on the shit that
Yeah,
matters,
but
like
you're
Skinwalker.
not addressing what I'm saying though.
But
I'm saying that the whole idea of publications like this is unnecessary and and not wrong, but just kind of like it's a shitty attitude.
well, I get what you're saying with that. You think it's a shitty attitude, but you also believe that it saps the fun out of it. Except I don't think it does. It allows us to put our attention towards shit that matters. It's like if
I,
science was like, hey, you know what? Gravity doesn't exist because it's too much fun to assume that it does, and then we get shit like flat earthers. You
well,
know,
I don't. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that like it does. Okay, zapping the fun out of it isn't necessarily like right, but like it 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 doesn't help anyone to come at it with a combative attitude at first, like from the start, right? Like you're not going to change anyone's mind. Like the Skeptical Inquirer probably hasn't changed a single person's mind in their entire existence. They just play to their audience, you know?
But they
So, like,
present the facts
coming-
of the case.
Yeah, they might do that, but like they're not helping in the way you think they are.
Yeah, but you don't have to
It's
be
just an echo chamber.
you don't have to be like, hey, buddy, you know, flat Earth is cool and all, but you know what?
No,
I believe you because flat Earth could possibly exist within your universe. Every fact to the contrary says
no, that's
otherwise,
you're
but
missing.
I
No,
believe you.
that's not what I'm saying.
Then what are you saying, Max? Because it sounds like you said they sap the fun out of it, and then you said they come at it with a combative attitude, which some of these things you
They
kind of
do come
have
at
to.
some certain things we can ridicule, right? Certain things we can ridicule, like flat Earth. Let's ridicule that. Fine. Let's ridicule exorcisms that are ridiculous. And I think that is a much better way to approach it rather than just approach it by sort of like attacking, an investigator or um, I don't know, like I
Family
just
or
I
a
just
person.
I just don't. I have read that. I've read the Skeptical Inquirer. I've read a lot of those publications, and I just find them to be like annoying.
Well, that's the
Like,
core of the problem. I think, listen, we could agree to disagree. I think shit is necessary on both sides. You're going to have combative people that are still out there defending The Exorcist as if it's a real fucking thing. And
and that's wrong too.
and you're going to have combative people to present the facts as if to say, it's not because of such, 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 and such. I think somewhere in the middle lies our answer.
Well, that's what
But
I'm saying.
but at the same time, uh, if a family did this, if a little boy knowingly did this, and caused the greatest prank in fucking history, and then turned around and caused millions upon millions of mental health issues on people who thought they were fucking possessed by demons because of The Exorcist and later The Exorcist TV show, he absolutely deserves to get called out for it.
Yeah, but I don't know if the family had that much to do with the books and the movies. I think you're putting undue
Hold on.
blame on something.
Like,
Continue.
why not put the blame on the priests? That's my
Well,
thing.
it is. The whole thing is like a charlatan thing from beginning to end.
All right. Well, let's talk about it then.
Yeah.
More in detail of the actual history of it. So, little Ronald Hunkeler was born into a German Lutheran family in 1935, and he was an only child who basically depended on the adults around him to keep him entertained, which is why you should never have just a single child, people. If you're gonna have kids, either go no kids or go to two. Don't ever stay at the one.
Are you an only child, Alex?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. Jesus Christ. I can't imagine how fucked up I would have grown up if I was an only child. But anyways, I'm already a pretty narcissistic motherfucker. I can't even imagine if I was the only one. Um, but since he didn't really have any kids that he hung out with, he got close to his aunt Harriet, who was a spiritualist, and introduced him to the Ouija board when he expressed interest in it. However, things went very south for little Hunkler after his aunt died in the 1940s. The Hunkler family began to experience strange noises, furniture moving, and normal objects flying and levitating near the boy. And comes in Luther Miles Schultz, the family's Lutheran priest, appropriately named, apparently, arranged for the boy to stay overnight at his crib for quote unquote observation. Schultz claimed he witnessed household objects and furniture moving by themselves, so the next day he advised the family to seek a Catholic priest for an exorcism. Um, I don't know why Catholic. Why couldn't they just
Yeah, and
fucking?
it's
Why couldn't he
interesting.
do it?
It's interesting. I don't know.
But according to the story, the boy then underwent a number of exorcisms. The first was conducted by a Roman Catholic priest named Edward Hughes at Georgetown University Hospital. During the procedure, Ronald broke free of his restraints, ripped a bed spring out of his mattress, and attacked the priest. Unbeknownst to everybody else, Ronald was on a lot of PCP. The priest was like, fuck this, and halted the ritual. And so the Hunklers traveled to St. Louis and contacted Ronald's cousin, who contacted one of his professors named Bishop, who then contacted William S. Bowden, an associate of College Church. So it's really just like my brother-in-law's sister's husband's
I
cousin,
know.
second cousin, aunt. But anyways, so then Bishop and Bowden um, met with the family to observe the boy, and when they witnessed a shaking bed, flying objects, the boy speaking in a guttural voice, and an aversion to sacred objects, Bowden asked the archbishop for permission to conduct another exorcism, which he was granted the right for, and the group headed to the Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri. Um, Before commencing with the ritual, two other priests were called in to assist, a Walter Holleran and which, God, I love this name, William von Rue. Holleran witnessed various atrocities such as the words evil and hell appearing on the boy's body, the mattress shaking, and Holleran's nose being broken during the litany of saints, which do we have more about that? Like, did he get like kicked or punched, or was it like a miracle breaking? Well, I guess not a miracle. It
He
wouldn't be a miracle
basically
unless
attacked
it's-
the priest. It was like,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
but I mean, the whole thing's
Yeah,
fucking
like,
bullshit. So
So, however, once the rite was over, Ronald went on to lead a rather ordinary life, even working for NASA, apparently. And this fascinating story came to a considerably happy close. But did it? Because it didn't. This sounds too much like a Hollywood ending. You'd be right. Although he did work for NASA, so I mean, probably a
he
good
did.
job.
He was an engineer for a long time.
So let's look at the facts. The Exorcist movie was based on a book by William Peter Blatty, which I guess don't ever trust the name Blatty, which bared the
Yeah.
same name. The book, in turn, was based off of a series of news articles that ran in 1949. This means after the newspapers embellished the story, an author then embellished the story further, which was even further embellished by Hollywood. So to get to the true story, we'll have to wipe away 3 layers of grimy, 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 grimy dirt.
Kirby, I would just say you should look and see what the skeptics have to say about John Keel because they don't like him.
well, that's fine. But in cases like
I'm just
this,
saying.
you have to bring shit like this to the light.
No,
Because
I agree. I agree with that.
it's like, otherwise, we're just gonna, like, we just let it continue. And people are known to let shit get way bigger than it needs to be. And this is how we
I
end
think
up
that-
believing Zeus threw lightning bolts.
But Seuss
Oh,
did.
he did.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. What are you
he
talking
did.
about?
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. I just it's one of those things. It's like politics. Like you're never going to change anyone's idea on religion, no matter what you say. Even if you present facts, science, it's just like it's just yes, we need to investigate this stuff to understand why it's bad, but at the same time, like the idea of approaching it like you're going to change someone's like entire world view is not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's how the investigations get done. It's like,
Well,
to call bullshit on some. I mean, Charles Maroon did the same fucking thing in France. To be like, this is all
I
bullshit.
don't know, but
How do
he
we?
did it in a he did it in a way that was less dickish.
They're all dicks, Max. Everyone's a dick. To pretend that there's not dicks on one
Bring it
side.
back to John Keel. John Keel approached this stuff with an analytical, scientific mind, and his conclusions were completely different than what his critics say. And his approach to it, they don't even address his approach because his approach to it was scientifically and journalistically sound because they can't refute it.
Because you need people like that. You need
Like
like
Keel, you need people like Keel.
yeah, but not just kill. You need assholes and dicks in this world. You need the people
I don't agree.
that
I
are
don't
going to
agree at all.
sit. There are
No.
people. Hear me out. You need the people that are going to vehemently defend The Exorcist till they die, and you need the people that are going to seek the truth of The Exorcist.
I think
Because
you need neither, honestly. I think you need neither of those people.
well, that's a fantastic reality that none of us live in. So we need the ability to seek out these truths and then make our own decision based off the facts that we're presented.
I think that is reasonable. I just don't think you got to be such a dick about it.
That's
That was
their.
John Keel's approach. That was John Keel's approach.
How many more people
And
are actually? How many people? Okay,
But he won more people over to his cause than any skeptical magazine ever.
and how many John Kills have we seen?
Ew.
Jacques Vallée.
Okay, so 2 people.
What about that physicist on the Skinwalker Ranch guy?
You mean the guy that's getting paid by history to not fucking dig in the ground? No.
No, we were just saying we both liked him.
I like him, but I also understand he's getting paid to display a
Yeah, that's true.
like seasons worth of not putting a fucking shovel in the goddamn dirt.
As holy ground,
Yes.
baby.
This is why you need the assholes in this world to go, give me the fucking shovel, I'll dig it. And eventually,
probably right.
You need permission to dig.
well, yeah, but fucking whatever. Like, no,
Well,
Skinwalker
no,
Ranch
I'm
is never
gonna
going to
get
give.
on there. I'm gonna start digging, man. I'm bringing a backhoe.
I really want to dig in Skinwalker Ranch. I believe that there
That
is.
sounds dirty.
I believe that there is a truth somewhere in the middle between the heavy skeptics and the heavy believers. Now, Max, you're very clearly a heavy believer, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
it's called the
I wouldn't
normal
say I'm a
human being.
believer. I just don't look when it comes to exorcism. When it comes to things that harm people, like yeah, I really am not like a big fan. I don't really like insulting people's belief systems, and I think that that yes, like a skeptical approach to this particular exorcism is needed, right? Like we need to understand like why it didn't happen the way it happened and etc. But I don't like the idea of just like insulting someone's belief in like I don't necessarily believe in astrology, right? But like I don't feel the need to just shit on everyone else's belief in astrology if it makes them feel good.
No, you're not going to be the one doing it, and that's the thing. It's the Thanos.
Nobody else needs to either.
It's the Thanos
When does
principle.
astrology ever harm
Hear me
somebody?
out. It's the Thanos principle of being like, this world is overpopulated. I'll make the decisions others can't. You
You're
know,
talking about a dictatorship.
what I'm talking is that we need assholes in this world to preserve the truth, and not people that are going to blindly accept it because they don't want to offend the other person.
I'm not talking about offending anybody. I'm just talking about like I'm just saying like astrology is one of those things that like I think
Max, we need
doesn't do anybody
you
harm.
as much as we need me on this fucking podcast to present both sides.
I mean I don't have a side. I just
I've never really
just don't-
thought of you two as like antagonistic in that sense.
neither have I. I'm kind of surprised by this.
No, what, dude? We've had spats in the past. Max,
Yeah, but this is one I'm surprised by.
Max,
Like,
you tend to be kinder and nicer and more believing, and that's okay. I tend to be far more skeptical and more like, let's get to the truth of the matter. The thing is, people are going to hear you, people are going to hear me, and they're going to take those decisions and go, this is my own thought. And that's how you get progress. You know,
I think that we are of the like 5% of the people on the face of the earth that can come up with an original thought.
oh yeah, I know.
That's my thing.
I like.
All right.
Kind of
I hope someone out there can.
So now that this is looped around to Crook and Murder being friends again, let's discuss the other side of the coin on this little hunkler boy.
let's find out what he did.
What word is that supposed to be? The disnified demon story.
Demystified?
Demystified?
It seems to be a word. Oh, it's a book.
Yeah, okay, so the disnified demon story did not sit well with author Thomas B. Allen in his book Possessed, because all fucking books these days need goddamn colons for some reason. Possessed, the true story of an exorcism, he called it bullshit and then sought to unravel the truth. What Allen found was the story of a deeply disturbed boy with nothing supernatural surrounding him. Then author Mark Obsasnik, then picked up the torch from Allen and dug deeper, questioning many of the claims. Obsasnik found evidence of a disturbed bully who threw temper tantrums for attention.
Only
He
child.
also positioned that Ronald was perfectly capable of performing many of the acts outlined in the book, including the bed shaking, marks on himself. Well, yeah, I mean, those are obvious. Mimicking Latin from clergymen, it's obvious too, and then throwing objects.
Obvious too.
Yeah, it really is. So any of these acts can be reasonably committed by a truly dedicated and determined 12-year-old, especially one known to pull pranks on his mother and others in his neighborhood. And then Obstinnik dug deeper and found no evidence of the initial exorcism that we spoke about. In fact, he found ample evidence refuting it existed at all. And he found discrepancies of locations within the book. And finally, he found that much of the information was based off of hearsay. Obsasnik concluded that those involved saw and experienced what they wanted to see and experience, filling in the rest with their own imaginations.
I don't read the Skeptical Inquirer, but I do
I know you
know
don't.
that we need people that do that. I'm not going to go out and be like, fuck you and fuck your religion, and here's the reason. You know? Like, people that do that, though, tend to draw light onto things that may get out of hand. In fact, one story that we've actually cut from the podcast because we're going to devote its own episode to it did get out of hand. The story
very much so.
of Annalise Mikkel. Horror movie buffs may know her as the Exorcism of Emily Rose. Annalise was a devout Catholic from the day she was born until the day she died. She developed a multitude of disorders and problems, from psychosis, the disorder of seeing people's faces as demons. She also developed epilepsy. She was on a host of drugs by the time she got to college. She was so devout in her faith that it bled into these disorders. So, when she was writhing around on the bed, she truly believed she was possessed. To the point that she rejected medical help because she didn't help or didn't believe in it. Her parents actively encouraged it, and the priests had a fucking agenda because if they could beat the devil, they could prove Catholicism was real. It led to 67 exorcisms on this one girl who eventually died of malnutrition because she truly believed that she was a martyr for the sins of World War II Germany. This is exorcisms getting out of hand. And this is why we need people to be like, this is bullshit.
So I wanna just, yes, right. That one was just ridiculous. How many demons did she say she channeled? I can't remember.
69.
She had a lot.
Yeah, it was.
She channeled Adolf Hitler too. It was weird.
It was actually kind of impressive because if you do a case study on Annalise Mikkel, you realize these exorcisms are a product of their time. Like, if she's channeling Hitler, it's because it took place in the 60s and 70s, and she was that close to World War II. That Hitler was still a viable figure within her mind.
So, I'm looking at an article about what's his name? Ronald Doe, whatever they called him.
Hunkler.
Hunkler. And this is what one of his partners said. That one, he was terrified of his NASA co-workers finding out who he was because he was ashamed of it. On Halloween, quote, we always left the house because he figured someone would come to the residence and know where he lived and never let him have peace. She said he had a terrible life from worry, worry, worry. I feel bad for the guy.
He let a joke get out of hand in America. That's
As
the
a
thing.
12-year-old.
But people
As a
wouldn't
12-year-old.
go to Hunkler to be like, "Hey man, you're a fraud." They would go to Hunkler being like, "Hey, what was being possessed like? What was being
And
a
he didn't
demon
want
Not
like?"
that.
true. There's
He didn't
plenty of
want that at
people.
all.
There's plenty of people that would go and
Are
say that he's a
you
fraud.
have you not seen the flat earth movement at all?
I know, right? Um, I think that, I mean, just from like the quotes in this, like, and what I just read on a couple other places, seemed like he was just like the exorcism was a prank he pulled when he was 12 that he regretted for the rest of his fucking life,
Yeah. But that
which I
doesn't
think has more to say about the adults around him than him.
Oh, 100%.
I don't blame Ronald for
Yeah.
this. Ronald was a
Okay. Okay.
14-year-old that played a prank that got way out of hand. I blame his parents.
Yeah.
I blame the
I blame the
priests.
priests.
I
Yeah.
blame Hollywood. I blame
Oh, absolutely.
William Peter Blatty for blowing up the story. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
honestly, if you take away the Hollywood aspects, the book aspects, the fucking newspaper aspects, what you have is a kid throwing things and shaking the bed.
Absolutely.
Like if you boil it
So,
down to its base.
yeah. And I mean,
I'm
I,
with the
it's
red fucking new bicycle that's coming out. God damn it. There's a demon saying you have to get it for me. Get me the BB gun.
But the
I
problem
think he
is like, and I know that we're never gonna change people's minds. I get that. But there
yeah.
might be one person somewhere that is. That goes, huh? Maybe I'm not possessed. Maybe I don't have exorcism. Maybe I have epilepsy
Yeah.
and I need to see a doctor.
Well, I'd say that like yeah,
Well, I
that
think
is
that's way more common now.
yeah. I'd also think that well, apparently not, but I'd also say that like that the place of diagnosing those things isn't necessarily on the victim, right? If you have schizophrenia, you don't know that you have schizophrenia. If you have epilepsy, like you go to a doctor, and like it's on not just like the person who is asking for the possession, it's the people that are pushing that person to thinking that they are possessed, right? Because usually it's not, and so, in some cases we've said yes, it is a sort of depression, a form of narcissism, but it's also it could just like it could be a very mentally ill person who's the people around them are not like seeking help for this person in the way that they should. Like it's just like trying to pray away the flu.
Yeah, or pray away the gay. Like to be like, hey, go to this camp and
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
exactly like
we'll
that.
teach you how not to be gay anymore. It's a
Oh, see,
few
it has nothing to do on the gay person, right? It's the community around the gay person.
Yeah, it is. And that's like that's where the Annalise like Mickle story went wrong. Is because everyone around her kept reaffirming her beliefs that she was a fucking Christian and dying for the sins of World War II instead of
Oh
seeking
yeah.
medical help when she actually
Oh no.
needed it.
Everyone around her fucking bought into it, and yes, ended themselves into like torturing a poor young girl.
You got to realize most of these stories at its heart are for profit. Skinwalker Ranch history is for profit. Like
Oh yeah.
the
Skinwalker Ranch
Exorcist.
is a real phenomenon though.
No, the Skinwalker Ranch is a real phenomenon. History
Yeah.
Channel is not fucking giving us the shit that they promised us, and I'm a little pissed because just fucking dig in the ground. It's not that hard. Grab a shovel and dig in the ground and deal with the radiation. But if you die, you're the guy that discovered aliens.
Well, also, I don't know if you're talking History Channel, uh, shows like Ancient Aliens like piss me the fuck off, right? Because it is like one, they just keep presenting the same fucking
I like
uh
Ancient Aliens for one reason and one reason only, and that's that dude with the crazy fucking hair.
He's got cool hair.
I like him. That Greek guy with the hair and the fucking jewelry. I like
Oh,
him.
dude, it's
Um,
fucking insane.
I know. Actually, I don't even know if he's Greek. That accent, like he could be. I think it's fake. I think he's from fucking Boston. Because it doesn't apply to anywhere. But that show pisses me off because one, it's the same theories over and over again, the same book. They keep citing, the Chariot of the Gods and shit like that. But it also just it just insults anyone who ever built the pyramids, people who created microchips. It's like, oh, we couldn't do this without aliens, obviously,
Well,
because
also
we don't have smart people.
okay. Let me clear the air for the listeners. Max and I don't hate each other. We're actually really good friends. We just have different viewpoints of how we approach paranormal situations, which allow us to present it on this show.
I will also say that recently my mind has been expanded a little bit, and I have a much softer view on certain things. So
All right, well, let's get into that with our theories on
yeah,
exorcisms and possessions then.
let's hear about it.
All right. I'm going first, right?
You are going first.
All right. So my theory is that essentially what possessions are and exorcisms are Willy Wonka style obstacles. And so essentially what you have is you have, I don't know, the chocolate maker, whoever that is. Oh God. And he's testing you with something, and when you fail, you get possessed. So either blown up like a blueberry, or fall into a chocolate river and drown, or get stuck in a tube, or that's my theories. And then when you pass,
Max, or
you're
not
kind of
Max,
like
Alex.
Charlie. Yeah,
Alex.
yeah,
You know what? I'm not gonna. You are entitled to your own beliefs. Okay.
yeah.
I love you for them.
Uh-huh.
But this is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard.
Okay, I'll give you. Okay, okay. So my
know
my
what?
real one, my real one, and this is, remember that this is on the assumption that there are possessions that are real. So that is what I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about like
Yeah,
fake
I think that's
possessions.
what these theories are,
Right.
right? These
Okay. All
theories
right. All
are
right.
on anything that might be real.
Anything that might be real. So my theory is that, kind of like how there may be a theory that deja vu, which is when you have the sensation that you've experienced something before, right? Is that deja vu is the intersection of yourself and a parallel universe of yourself. It's just that parallel universe self basically has experienced what you're experiencing already, right? So it's like both of you experiencing it at the same time. And so you have this kind of weird mental connection between those experiences. So it feels like
So,
you've already lived it.
like the Hodor theory.
Hmm.
Sure, I don't know
Yeah,
what that
Like,
is.
hold the door,
yeah,
hold the
actually,
door,
yeah,
hold the
Hodor.
door, hold door, hold door.
Yeah, Game of
Where,
Thrones, man.
Yeah, I
and
got
this,
nothing. Never seen Game of Thrones, so I got nothing. Now my
I don't
theory
watch
on
it. It's lame.
so now my theory on possessions is that rather than you intersecting with a parallel universe of yourself, what's end up happening is that someone's consciousness from a parallel universe has intersected with your own, and there's like a muddling of consciousness within one body, and it just appears to us to be like demons just because there's like an incompatibility there. There's like a distortion or interference or something, like static almost, and
Oh,
that's
I
how
like
it.
that actually.
Yeah. So that's my theory.
Yeah,
And then obviously exorcisms don't do anything to fix that problem. They just go away on their own.
yeah. No, I like that because it's kind of like a. It's. I think. What did Keel call them? He called them sort of soft spots where
Hmm.
like reality gets thin spots. Did he call them thin spots? I don't know, but he had a theory about thin spots where reality sort of kind of is not. It's a little the shell of what we see becomes a little bit more, I don't know, worn, and different shit sort of flows in. I like that.
Yeah, so that's my theory, but it's very simple. That's all I got. So
Okay. Do we want to do mine?
Yeah,
You guys
go ahead.
ready? All right. I'm gonna try to do this quickly, without getting too crazy. All right. So this theory started uh, with my girlfriend and I watching the show Evil, and her saying, and me saying like, yeah, like the vast majority of exorcisms and possessions are bullshit, and which is kind of strange because she's a like devout atheist, so like not a fan of religion. And I am actually like a practicing Jew. Like I am like kind of a believer. So like it was interesting that this came from her. That like she's like, well, what about instances of like, when people speak in languages that they don't know and like telekinesis and shit. And I was like, well, you ever see that anything that you watch on TV or like a YouTube that's claiming to be real is all bullshit. But the Catholic Church is maybe had like some real exorcisms, and the Vatican likes to keep the shit secret. So let's say, for argument's sake, that an exorcism case turns out to be real. I think if there are like legit legit possessions, we'd probably never hear about them, right? Because again, if they are done by the proper clergy, that clergy is not going to want to talk about it. But it made me think about a lot of stuff that we talk about on this podcast, as far as perception goes. So what if perception goes beyond just our perception, and it goes into a phenomena, not necessarily demonic possession or spiritual possession, but some sort of phenomena, kind of like what Alex was talking about, like
can I ask
like
a
a
quick
thing.
question?
Yeah.
So are you talking about like almost like a sixth sense that humans might have?
No, well, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, but a sixth sense that affects the observer, right? So like if we're all
That
standing
affects the
around,
observer or the observed?
the both. Fuck you. What is that? Wait, did I do that?
That wasn't
Someone
I
me.
don't
just gave
know.
me a thumbs down on the thing. Maybe that was, I don't know what that was.
That
I
wasn't
didn't
me.
do it.
That's...
That was bizarre.
That was
But that
100%
wasn't
Ken.
you?
Hey, no, I
Okay.
swear to God. Listen, I'm literally just sitting here trying not to be a dickhead and listening to your guys' theories.
I don't even know how you would do that.
Do what?
That was interesting. That was kind of creepy, actually. Okay,
Oh, I
there we
think you
go.
did do it yourself on
Yeah, I think I
accident.
did. Okay.
Someone's
It
fucking
was
with the
just a
channel. Just go through with it.
it's a movement. Okay. Anyways. Fuck. Lost my train of thought. No, it's
Oh,
the I
it's still perfectly.
it's the it's the idea that um if we're at a thin spot and there is a phenomena happening and it exhibits as demonic possession, that the person who is experiencing it is so close to that phenomena that it affects the people observing it and interacting with it. As in, that person somehow then speaks in a language they don't know, probably because someone in the room is expecting it, right? And maybe they don't know that
Okay.
they don't know that language, right? But someone in the room is thinking like, this is like a demonic possession. I bet the next thing is going to be someone speaking in Aramaic, you know? And
Okay,
then
I understand now. So
and then it
like
spreads.
the exorcist, like whoever's like doing the exorcism, their perception of what they expect or what they expect
Yeah,
to
exactly.
perceive actually
Happen.
affects. Okay, okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that actually a lot.
And it grows. It's like a tulpa effect. The more people that are observing it, the more people that believe in it, the worse it gets, and it turns into a real phenomena, or it begins with a real phenomena and escalates into a Catholic phenomena.
Oh, I like that actually a lot. Because what I like about that too is it kind of leads credence to, which Ken has brought up a lot, right? This idea of like almost like a shared consciousness within the
Yeah.
universe, right?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So like if shit flies across the room, it's probably because there's a connection between the possessed and the exorcist that intercedes, and then like something flies across the room, and then like because
Kind of
it
like a
all
magnet, almost like a
yeah, and
yeah.
it all kind of like it all kind of there's a we discussed it in the previous episode about exorcisms. Like there is a step by step sort of like Catholic dogma of like how an exorcism or possession progresses, and because
Yeah.
everyone's sort of aware of that, and if you're in a certain thin spot or someone's brain is sort of in a thin spot, like maybe there is a phenomena behind it, but it has nothing to do with demons or ghosts. Maybe it's just happens, you
Yeah,
know?
I like that theory.
Yeah,
And I
we're
can see
working on that.
why now that you would say it would tie in sort of well with my theory,
Yeah,
right? Because like my theory doesn't exclude what you're talking about, right?
exactly.
It just opens up to the idea of like there being like parallel or multiple universes.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's
Or,
pretty good.
or just it's like UFO flaps, right? When a UFO is sighted in one place, many more people cite UFOs for the next coming year. And I don't necessarily think that's mass hysteria. I think that they actually are probably seeing something. It's just it might not be a UFO. It might just be something we don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
I can
It's the same theory I have on the Mothman.
probably say with about 95% certainty it was Micah.
Wait, it was Micah. We're gonna do an episode on Mothman, right?
We
We
are.
we are gonna do an episode on the
Yeah.
Mothman.
Okay.
Kirby and I got balls deep in the Mothman.
Oh,
Actually, we
did you
truly did.
now?
Yep,
We truly did. We
we
got
did.
balls deep in each
We
other
did the
that night too.
fucking tower.
It was really a special night.
All right, Ken. Candles and all. All right, Ken. What's your theory on possessions and exorcisms?
Well, first of all, yes, I was looking at the inbox midstream because I'm tracking down Micah, who I bet absconded the minute I started looking for him. Because not too many people would be fucking with the stream, but he would.
I thought
So
it could have been Demon.
I'm on to you, Moriarty. I'm your fucking Holmes. Now, okay. Here's I want to preface all this by saying I we can't know for certain what's going on in the universe. All we can really do is guesstimate. You know, even science itself, where we say that the physics or the laws of physics are concrete, get broken down when you get to the quantum level. Like nothing in this world is a fact. Everything is a hypothesis. So it is very possible that exorcisms exist. We are just looking at them from a Hollywood viewpoint and not from uh, a more down to earth one. So
Mm.
what I mean by that is like John Keel makes a point in his book to say it's not the fucking hand doing the magic trick that you should be looking at. It's the left hand that's like what's going on over there while the right hand is shaking. It's like
Yeah.
it's the minuscule things. It's the connections in our reality that by itself don't quite make sense but aren't that big. However, when you look at it from a global viewpoint, uh, it's much bigger than we think.
Yeah.
The thing about Annalise Mikkel that completely fucks with my head is that it can happen to any of us at any given time. If there was anything out of all of the fucking subjects that I have covered that actually kind of scares me, it's exorcisms. Because Annalise Mikkel, and I'm not talking about in some fucking Christian way. I mean, her brain was on the goddamn fritz.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
it was at that point where towards the end where honestly letting her go might have been the most humane thing to do. And exorcisms themselves, all right, strap on your fucking big boy pants because we're going to go wade through some conspiracy theories. The world's a computer. We are surrounded by NPCs as if this was a video game, really well constructed, very well written NPCs, but I highly doubt that everybody that exists on this planet is a real human being. I believe we need our villains. I believe we need our heroes. Because as humanity, we need shit to dramatize. We need the larger than life figures to give us hope to believe that there's something out there that is worth hoping for. What does this have to do with exorcisms? Quite simply, an error in the coding.
Hey, Neo.
If we are computer programs, AI that can think on a scale that we haven't even developed as humans, that we're getting there to like, we're getting closer to it each day. Part of me wonders if people like Annalise Mikel, the ones that are really like fucking out there, had the wrong coding within their system. And what I mean by that is like on a day-to-day basis, we see the passage of time as a day, right? It's fucking 24 hours to us. It can be long. Our perception of time is only created by man-made fucking objects that we denoted somewhere around the Roman Catholic era. But if there was somebody programming us on a day-to-day basis, they wouldn't see 24 hours. They would see seconds. Which means if someone like Annalise Mikel got released into the world and they were like, okay, let's see how she does, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. She's starting to, like, exhibit signs of an error in the code. Oh, no, shit. Let me fix this. Fuck, she's already 16? Okay, hold on. And then this is like skimming through the code. Oh, fuck, he's already 20? Like, time would pass differently for them because they're much larger than us and are capable, like, they move much faster than us. Which means where we would see days, they would see seconds, and this programmer is struggling to fix Annalise Mikel until eventually she succumbs to it, and they go, let's not do that again. I believe true exorcisms are a glitch in the matrix.
So you think possessions are a glitch, and then exorcisms are a form of... So I have a few questions. So my first one is, so possessions are glitches. That part I understood. And then exorcisms, are those like us reacting to the glitch, or are those like the programmers trying to fix the glitch?
Exorcisms are us reacting to the
Okay.
Like Greek times, we see lightning come down, we go, that's Zeus. We see someone lose their shit completely, we go, it's a demon. Because what the fuck else are we going to base it off of? Other than documented medical cases that exist today, but didn't like necessarily exist during the 1960s, 1970s. We know far more about mental health disorders nowadays than we did. So the very first thing that we'd go to is probably demonic possession.
My other question is, where does the assumption come from that the programmer's time is different than our own?
Because if they're running code, go out and ping a router.
No, I see what you're saying. So the day and night cycles in World of Warcraft are something like an hour long, right?
That's a good way to look at it.
So
yeah, but that's an assumption because you can't, like, it's a video game, but what's to say that the programmers just don't have the simulation running in real time?
Because why would they?
Well, why wouldn't
if you can get expedited scientific results off of AI?
I guess if you're,
Why would you sit there and go, let's make this be
real time and wait for it. Yeah. That I can see.
I have a technical issue.
Okay.
So, okay, so, and maybe this doesn't apply to the beings that run our simulation, but a a good program and a good environment to be running a simulation in or a computer program in has mechanisms to debug, right? So you wouldn't find a like in any video game, any MMORPG or any MMO game that has an NPC that's malfunctioning, you wouldn't fix it in real time, whether it's your time or the video game's time. You'd actually stop it, debug the code, or if it was running and you had to do it quickly, you'd throw in a bunch of debug code or run a debugger on it to find out where the memory glitch is or where your memory leak is. And then like you put in breakpoints, basically. You put in a point where like, I think this is the part that's broken. Let's test it. Next breakpoint, next breakpoint, next breakpoint, and then reintroduce the correct code.
Well, you just actually gave me the perfect introduction for my favorite thought experiment that I came up with. For one, if you pause or shut down Zelda, when you turn it back on, Link doesn't go, "Where were you?" He goes, "All right, let's go fight
exactly.
Hyrule." He doesn't notice the difference. Yeah. In fact, the only fucking person that notices the difference is Mr. Rossetti in fucking Animal Crossing that chews you out for not saving the goddamn game.
Well, and Mantis and Metal Gear Solid.
And Mantis and Metal Gear Solid. Now, my thought experiment is this. Let's say all we actually know that we perceive at any given time is all we know. So, for instance, this moment in time that we are perceiving right now exists because we exist within it. If someone were to come along and make a copy of Alex and deposit all of Alex's memories into him, when Alex goes to sleep at night, he pulls Alex's body and replaces it with the new version, would you know the difference?
Oh, of course not. Yeah, no, that's reasonable. I just think in the Annalisa, what's her face case, why not pull her out when she's sleeping or no one's looking and then just replace her with a fix? I like the theory. I like the idea and I like the thought experiment actually. The only thing is I'm hesitant to say that all mental illness is a glitch in the simulation.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think you can, right? Like, if first of all, okay, let's trace this back. If this theory persists, then it is reasonable to assume the Anunnaki, that Jesus, that the reptilians, and all those other things that could potentially exist as aliens, whatever the fuck, were programmers coming down to be like, hey, dudes, fucking chill. And every single time they interfered with our society, it still ended in disaster. So maybe at some point they went, hey, you know what? Let's let it be organic. Let's let them make their own mistakes. Let's let them go out there and learn, because probably the best way to learn is via firsthand experience. So let's say God, quote unquote, stepped in on Annalise McKell and fixed her. To what end? There's 3,000 Annalises, like Miguel's, around the fucking world at any given moment. And unless they're like patch management, which, you know, could explain why fucking the Sinbad movie where he's a genie no longer exists, or Kit Kat no longer has a fucking bar in the middle of it. Potentially.
Wait, what?
Oh, we're not doing this again.
This is the
We've
Mandela
done this
effect.
before.
Look it up one day.
Oh, Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
So maybe they have a very hands-off approach. Like I clearly made like a frantic programmer to prove a point, But at the end of the day, what if they're just like, okay, it's a glitch in the system. Let's see how it plays out. Because what are we to them but lines of code?
We're just
I,
animals at the zoo, man.
it's just like Slaughterhouse 5, man.
He's just like that dude. Oh my god!
Look,
Oh my
I said my theory is balls to the wall. And-
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we should do an episode on this whole simulation theory because I think that we apply that our general sense of how programs and games and simulations work to that, and if it was real, none of the things that we understand about computers and programming and all that would apply, right? So we tend to like the simulation theories that I've heard and that I've seen presented, and I'm not trying to insult you, Kirby, um, don't hold water with me because there's too many analogies to things that like we understand, like games, right? Like NPCs and stuff. And I think that if it were true, it'd be so different and abstract that like we couldn't apply the same logic to it.
well,
Like
Well,
it
then
wouldn't even be
let's
I
slow
something
down
that we could
there then
understand.
for a
oh,
second,
real
and we'll
quick,
do an episode on simulation
just hold
theory
on.
because
Point
now we're
counterpoint, and then we'll end it because I should have a chance to rebuttal that.
Yeah,
that's
you can.
fine.
When we invented the wheel, the basics of the wheel are still the same. It's still round. It's just vastly improved. We have just very, very, very recently in humanity's history entered into the realm of computers. If at its basic concept, binaries 1 and 0 is the basis of all computing platforms, who's to say that it isn't the same up here or down here as it is up there? As above, so below.
I don't think that you could apply the same computing theories to it. It doesn't like the same it just doesn't. The only theory that makes sense to me would be that the universe is a giant quantum computer, right? Not necessarily that we're programs in it, there's anything running in it, that it's just a giant quantum computer that we kind of reside in,
Kind of
and we're
like
just mass for the computations.
yeah, kind of like Rick's engine.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
within
exactly.
within the concept of that, it's like how do I put this? We apply labels to things that we don't understand because it helps us connect to it. Right? Like
Well, that's what I'm
right now,
saying. Yeah,
we call it NPCs, but down the line we could be like, oh, that's organic fucking bio material that looks, thinks, and acts like itself. We called it NPCs. Those guys in the fucking 2010s were so goofy. Ha ha ha. But we like hindsight's 2020, right? Like we look back at the Greek era and be like, guys, Zeus isn't throwing down lightning. That's very clearly electricity. But they were on to something
yeah.
by questioning the very world around us, by going, this could be the case. We could be set on the right track to unraveling the mystery at the heart of it all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we just need to stay. We need you need to take it in order to look at it objectively. You need to take a step back from binary, right? Because the like again, if it makes the only thing that makes sense to me is the quantum computing thing, then binary is only like it's not the the thing that runs the computer necessarily. I mean, it is kind of with logic gates and things, but like it's a high concept that yeah, we're just developing now. And like yeah, we only apply the things that we know and we apply labels that we know. And it's just kind of scratches the surface. So like I just think code would run differently than like anything that we have ever understood.
And it very well could. Like, we could be
Yeah.
wrong by saying it's binary, and maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. However, if we're onto the concept, we could begin the case of unraveling it. How do you troubleshoot
Yeah.
something if not marking it off the list?
No, it's right. That's right. That's true.
I
That's
also
kind
believe
of what I'm saying. Yeah.
mathematics, sound and light govern the universe, and there's a lot of incidents that point to something like that, which very well could be the fucking diodes, uh, within like computers, or the LEDs. Like, we're looking at something. We're looking. If we were in a computer, we're looking at it at the very, 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 very basic level. And
Oh
if you
yeah.
zoom
I
it
mean
out,
that
we
makes sense.
we could be a gigantic organic brain for all we know, which
Well,
in
like
itself is
protons,
just a
the way
computer.
protons move and the way photons move through space is like at a constant speed. So yeah, you would just be looking at like electrons moving through a
My
dimensional
vote
Okay.
space.
is we've gone a little off topic on
Yeah.
Okay.
possessions and exorcisms, and we should save this for like an actual episode.
I think we should do a simulated episode. Like, I think that would be a great debate.
I mean, it's kind of in our wheelhouse to do weird shit like that.
Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
though that if we do a simulation episode, I will just be reading the outline because I think, and you know me, Kirby, even if it's true, I think it's useless information to know.
I actually love
I actually,
Alex's take on this, where it's like it all doesn't matter anyways.
yeah, I kind of had the same thought too, but I still like the thought experiment.
No, I like the thought experiment, but at the end of the day, I'm like, well, it doesn't change how we actually perceive and interact with the world in any fundamental fucking way. For Elon Musk being like, we all live in a simulation, I just want to be like, okay, and how does that doesn't change anything for me. Like when I throw a rock, it still goes. When I still get sick, I gotta go to the fucking doctor. Like what does that change for me, Elon Musk? What does that change?
Yeah.
I guess it's the answer to
Yeah.
life and death.
Other than you fucking inflating some goddamn stock market so you could fucking cash out and then fucking
Well,
Yeah.
dickbag.
I wish I could hack reality to fix my credit score.
the
But
minute,
yeah,
I
right.
mean, the King Solomon did, but the minute,
He did. He
He
did.
did. That's really good.
He really
Yeah.
did.
the minute we stop being inquisitive as humanity is the very minute our race starts to fail.
I'm not saying that you can't be inquisitive. Just be
Yeah.
inquisitive about shit that changes things here and now, rather than fucking trying to figure out if we live in a
Yeah.
simulation.
That's
Yeah,
how
we
you
should
change
probably
shit down the
define-
line. All right, you know what? This isn't an
That's how I
episode
am,
in and
but-
of itself.
All right.
Let's
So,
call it here.
all right. So let me.
trying to find fusion power rather than trying to figure out for a simulation.
So let me do our little thing. So you can find an uncut version of the show on Twitch and YouTube. Complete audio and edited versions of the show can be found wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can join our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Crook Irish Studios. If you're interested in learning more about any of the topics discussed here, you can start by finding a list of our sources under the description of each episode on your preferred platform. And as always, you can email us at crookirish.studios@gmail.com.
All right, guys. A couple quick shout outs. Shout out to John Zara for allowing us to use Old Lang Syne as a part of his YouTube channel. And our closing song. Shout out to our Twitch mods today. That is OGB or OGT Nasty. Let me go ahead and start doing this. That is OGTNASTY. He is on Twitch. Please go check him out. Want to do a quick shout out for him. Another shout out to Lord of Old Door Frames for always being there to support us. We appreciate you, Lord, regardless of what Alex says.
Yeah.
Go find some doorknobs.
And that is
No. Two-thirds of us really appreciate you.
Lordofalldoor Frames. Shout out to Jay Gazes, who is another mod and a personal friend of ours, and actually a part of Upside Down Brain. Shout out to Siebes, because I saw her for a little bit there. So let me go ahead and do that. And am I missing anybody? Oh, Siebes. Siebes is Ceebbz. All of these people are Twitch streamers. Go follow them. I am always of the accord that what's that? Communities should build each other up and not try to be at the top like fucking Logan LeDouche Paul, making YouTube videos and screwing everyone else. So
I don't know who that is, but I think you're right.
Logan Paul is like the fucking mixed martial artist who's not a mixed martial artist.
You guys think
Yeah,
you guys think I'm a dick? Logan Paul found a fucking video or filmed a video in the suicide forest of a body of someone that committed suicide and proceeded to make fun of him on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't know that.
American influencer and professional wrestler, Logan Paul.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, he's a fucking tool.
Yeah. All right.
And another shout out to OGT Nasty. He is also an old friend of mine. I think we'll have to do an episode on simulated realities because Max and I clearly like to debate. And once again, I'd like to point out, though it gets heated at times, I actually have a lot of respect for Max because Max's viewpoint is something I lack, and that is empathy. It is needed in this world. So I'm glad that he's on the podcast to push back against mine.
I agree fully with with Crook. I just that yes, there needs to be someone out there just calling bullshit. So we are and always will be good friends, the best of friends.
Yeah, this rarely ever leaves like the podcast. We're like the Mythbusters, Adam Savage and
the bald guy.
The bald guy. But we actually remain friends outside the show. So they have different opinions and different ideas of how to approach subjects, but together they work well. Mr. Walrus.
I think you just called yourself a sociopath, but that's okay.
I'm 100% a sociopath. And nor will I deny it because I'm also a narcissist.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm a narcissist too, so we got that. All right, let's go. Let's sign off.
I am Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. We will see you guys in 2 weeks when we do some episode somewhere. Also, Derek the Demon is now our official mascot.
Yes, he is. We need someone to draw a picture of Derek. We picture him wearing a hemp poncho sort of hoodie and flip-flops. And probably cargo pants.
Not Burkas.
No.
Fuck, what are those sandals called?
Birkenstocks.
Birkenstocks. It is Birkenstocks. Yeah. He's definitely wearing a hemp poncho and Birkenstocks.
Yeah, and Birkenstocks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah, I'm Maxwell Murder, and Derek the Demon is waiting in my bedroom to try to tempt me to do ecstasy.
Fuck it, Derek the Demon is the type of demon, you smoke weed with and play Smash Bros.
And I'm special guest Alex, and as always, someone let me out.
No.
Nope. No.
That's not happening.
Negotiations will not begin on that. I'm sorry.
We will definitely have to do the fucking simulate because you can bring the science and I can bring the theories.
I know. I want to do it. I don't want to be too combative about it though. So
and I can be the asshole that goes, none of this fucking matters.
Yes, thank you, Nietzsche.
Hey, we both know.